Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Welcome back to more Cimmerian September. And hope you guys are having a great weekend. I thought I'd give you a little something extra special and extra weird to start your weekend off with. Right out of The Sword of Conan, 1952-53 Gnome Press edition of Conan. And as you saw from the title down below, we have the Slithering Shadow. This is literally the weirdest Conan story I'm aware of, other than when Conan meets Elric in the comic books, but that's not... We'll get to that later this month with any luck. Hopefully I'll be able to get to that point, at least in the omnibus. But this one, Conan and a girl named Natala are out in the wilderness near Stygia. The entire army they were with has been decimated once again. That's kind of a common trope. Conan's the last or second to last survivor of ill-fated war or battle. He and Natala, the usual standard, semi-princessy kind of damsel in distress, are stuck in the middle of nowhere, and he's thinking of, offing her to put her out of her misery because they're out of water and there seems to be no hope, until off in the distance they spy a glimmer, and they make toward it thinking it's an oasis. It turns out to be an ancient city. There happens to be an ancient city of drug-addled dreamers who spend their days and nights mostly under the influence of, I think it's the Black Lotus or one of the other lotuses that gives you great dreams, and you while away your day just seeking various pleasures. And in this city, the folks are almost non-existent, except for in a few situations. It seems to be deserted, but the city's so big and so interconnected with labyrinthine rooms and chambers that all connect to one another. And Conan has to fight some of the inhabitants there that they don't speak the same language, until they bump into a woman named Phallus, who instantly, of course, falls in love with Conan's appearance, because the men there are weak and subdued, and she also comes from Stygia and came there when she was young, but young enough to still remember the outside world and not be spoiled by all the luxuries and pleasures, and wants to take Conan away from poor Natala and make him her own, and tries to do away with Natala, all the while a shadowy, slithering creature that they later find out is supposedly a demon named Thog, but in my interpretation, it's just a Shoggoth. And I know you're saying just a Shoggoth, that's still pretty terrifying, right? But it's not like a full-fledged demon. It doesn't seem to have the full scope of demonic abilities and powers that I attribute to demons, but that's just me. But it's a large black amorphous mass with strange pseudopods and tentacles that lumbers around, sliming its way through the corridors, very much like the Mountains of Madness, but Robert E. Howard style, with more people, less cold, less penguins, and it just it'll envelop its prey and devour them, and then move on to other places in the city, sometimes going down to the lowest levels to hibernate or whatever, and then come back. And the people there just don't really try to run from the creature. They just figure it's their fate to be devoured by Thog the demon. Just a weird story with the way he describes the city and the people and the attitudes that is hard to imagine being a recognizable thought process back in the 30s. Here in the modern days, it's like, yeah, There's a lot of people that are just like the folks of Zuthal, the ancient city. We've got a lot of people that would love nothing more than to just take their Black Lotus and go play video games or go just dream their life away, whereas Conan and Thalos and Natala all want to do other stuff, and least of which is get the hell out of that city, which eventually happens, but I'm not going to spoil the end for you guys. But definitely a really, really weird Conan story, even though it has so many elements that are familiar and similar to other stories. This one, I'd love to see, some of the letters between him and H.P. Lovecraft, to see if, he had read Mountains of the Mountains of Madness before or after writing this. If H.P. Lovecraft saw it and went, "Hey, it sounds like a Shoggoth," stuff like that. I'm just curious to learn more about this story, because I was telling Owen, I've read a lot of Conan. I've read most of the Daw Ace books, and I don't remember this story. It does have another name, and I don't remember that, having read that story either. I'm going to go through the books and see if it maybe came later than where I got to in those books. But I will be back hopefully tomorrow with the next one, which is, I forgot, or I missed it when I told you guys earlier. The next story in this book is The Pool of the Black One, followed by Red Nails. Red Nails is going to have to wait till Monday or later, but I will do my best to get through the rest of this book, at least the Pool of the Black One, by Sunday. So that's what I've got for you so far this weekend. We'll have more stuff Saturday night, but it's already Saturday now, and I've got a bunch of stuff I've got to take care of. So I'm going to say, have a great weekend, folks. I will see you guys all in the funny papers, and as always, happy trails.